What's up, everybody? I got this hilarious report to talk to you guys about. I had to laugh when I was researching this last night. Oh my god. Early results from a new study claims screen time making the cerebral cortex thinner. But they didn't say cerebral cortex. They said brain cortex. The brain cortex is not even a thing. We need to take this with a very, very tiny grain of salt. Because the study is not finished. It's not even finished. It's early, not even done. And you know, it was on CNN. The news probably jumped the gun and ran to a conclusion. The article was so bad that all it took was like a quick 5-minute cursory search on Google. I found that, one, there is no brain cortex. But there is, however, the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe of the cerebral cortex. And the cerebral cortex is made of several nodes. It is not just one node by itself. And by the by, the thinning of the cerebral cortex has nothing to do with what the article said it was talking about. How a thinning of the brain cortex makes it more difficult or even impossible to receive information from the outside world. Well, as it turns out, the cerebral cortex has absolutely nothing to do with that. That's a function of the central nervous system. But the article claims that that job goes to this mysterious brain cortex. This article is literal garbage, and some people really will believe absolutely anything. But let's get serious here. This is obvious propaganda just to get to people to use technology less. And I understand, people are too reliant on technology, but lying to them and or distorting facts is not the way you fix the problem. It is how you make the problem worse. You know what the real effects of too much artificial light is? I'll tell you right now. Our sleep mechanism, the way our brain works and releases melatonin and serotonin, respectively, for being awake and being asleep, is dependent on light. Our earliest human ancestors had the sun and the moon to rely on for that mechanism. The sun would guarantee they'd be awake during the day, and they'd fall asleep at night when the sun left the horizon. They'd lay down, they'd relax themselves, and then off they went to dreamland. The real effects of too much screen time and artificial light has nothing to do with the central nervous system, or not receiving information from the outside world. I should know. I've been with screens since I was a kid, using computers and shit, and TVs. However, the brain has no method of distinguishing between the light from a television screen, or a monitor, or a computer monitor, and light from the sun. Light is light. And therefore, our sleep mechanism is all out of whack, thanks to that wonderful man Thomas Edison. We got so much light around us all the time, even at night, that our sleep mechanism now no longer works the way it should. Sleep disorders like mine might even have a connection to that phenomenon. Who knows? Bottom line is, you cannot thin the cerebral cortex and lose touch with the outside world. That's nonsense. But if you spend too much time looking at a screen, then your natural mechanism for your sleep cycle will not function as it should, and you will probably begin to sleep odd or inconvenient hours, inversely proportionate to the amount of time you will spend looking at the screen. And you will tend to sleep either less time, more time, or at times that are inconvenient. So that's why you get like blue filters on your phones, because blue light is the most is the frequency of light that is the most arousing. It keeps us awake longer. It arouses us to awake state. So blue light, block your blue light. Get a filter on your phone or something. Like if you're sitting down in bed watching a show, the sky is probably going to look like red or something. But point is, this study is just literal garbage. This is the kind of studies you see represented in the mainstream media. Unfinished, early, and even the results seem to contradict observable reality. So, anyway, the corrupt NYPD, the police department, at it again. Officers were seen tearing a baby from the mother's arms. And, I guess I can't really show you the video, because it was on my phone. My sources are from my phone in an app, and for whatever reason, it doesn't really like playing videos very well. It's a decent phone, so I don't even know what the hell the problem even is. We've got solid internet, so it shouldn't even be an issue. And yet, it is. Crazy, right? But lots of people saw it. I admit that doesn't say much. Maybe I can find the article here, find the video for you good people, so you can see for yourself, or hear for yourself rather, because this is a webcam. You're going to be seeing me, but maybe you'll see it in my reactions to it. You know, low budget sci-fi logic. Oh, here we go. Found it. Found it. Alright, let's see if my computer is any more capable at playing it. Come on. Come on.
They say you're supposed to deny your cravings. You know what I do instead? I snack on Blue Diamond almonds. Wasabi and soy sauce? Don't deny your cravings. Eat them. All the flavors you craved in a super.
Oh, that's wonderful advice.
Eat
your cravings. Eat your cravings.
Borough President Eric Adams says that this video is an example of excessive policing. The NYPD even calling that video that was shot inside this Human Resource Administration Center troubling, saying that they will now review the incident. And I will tell you that the video is hard to watch. But what you're seeing is 23-year-old Jasmine Headley on the ground, and officers grabbing, pulling, and prying her 1-year-old son from her arms. According to witnesses, Jasmine was sitting on the floor because there was no seats in the center where she was waiting to get assistance, getting daycare vouchers so that she could go to work. Security asked for Jasmine to move, but she refused. Police were called, and that is when it escalated. At one point, an officer pulling out a stun gun, pointing it at the crowd and then at the resisting mother. Well, Jasmine is now in jail without bond, and she's the one facing charges for acting in a manner injurious to a child, among many other charges. Her family, who now has the baby, is upset.
I was devastated to see something like that happen to my daughter and my grandson, and how this officer was yanking on my grandson to get him out of my daughter's arms.
Yeah, and City Council Speaker Corey Johnson calling the video unacceptable. Jasmine, she will be in jail until she faces a judge Thursday. Live here in Borum Hill this morning, Candace McCowan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Do you folks hear that bullshit? It's not many departments, but it is the NYPD. The NYPD at this point is absolutely famous for doing shit like this. This is from what I've seen, this is a pretty standard routine. They use excessive force, they go way over the top, and then the person they use the force against is the one who gets slapped with the charges. We need our own yellow vest movement here in the United States at some point. We need to force the police to behave themselves. Gavin McInnes was kicked off of yet another tech site. This time, good old YouTube. Former leader of the Proud Boys is getting deplatformed everywhere. Hey Gavin, if you're watching, come to BitChute, dude. We would be glad to have you. We would love to have you. It's a free speech site. Nobody cares. Come here and then you can say whatever you want and no one will take issue. No one will be offended. Or even if they are, they can't do anything about it. You'll be completely free. Come on, my brother. Come to BitChute. James Commey saying that we should use every last breath to vote Trump out of office in 2020. Yeah, Comey's basically just being a big idiot. And you know what? Trump is your president, like it or not. He is your president, whether you want him to be or not. Doesn't matter. Your president is Donald John Trump. And if you can't learn to live with that, then you are basically a child. But he also said that if the House of Reps started impeachment proceedings, that would be fine. Like, really. On a case where, while there is a lot of philosophical evidence that might prove like a favor-for-favor type situation, there is no concrete, incontrovertible evidence that Russia did in fact help Trump to get into office. Comey's a big idiot, is basically a big idiot. There is a lack of damning evidence. And there is only theoretical evidence. Right? It only proves how it might have happened in theory, but it doesn't prove that it actually did happen. Hell, even Kevin McCarthy says he sees nothing in the Russia investigation. He's looked at it thoroughly, and he says that there's just nothing there. The Dems just need a knockout blow of evidence to make sure to make their case, but they just don't have it, and they're not gonna have it. It looked a little patchy there for a while. For a while there, even I started wondering, like, maybe, but no. I'm going to tell you again what it was from the start. The case against Trump was nothing but Democratic butthurt for losing the election. That's all it ever was. And it has been exposed. And it's about time we start spreading that idea far and wide. Now, I don't know about what you feel about U.S. sanctions, but I can tell you what GoPro feels. GoPro is starting to outsource and putting up factories and shops in other countries to avoid the U.S. sanctions. Yeah, because, you know what? Sanctions hurt business. And, Iran is and other such countries a potential market. But businesses need to acknowledge that these sanctions exist for a reason. Personally, I don't agree with sanctions myself, but I do agree with the principal reason. The principal reason is that these countries are human rights violators. We are technically at war with them. They have named themselves our enemy. And yet you want to go and do business with them. I'm saying you should be free to. I'm just saying that maybe it shows that you might have a lack of principle. In a similar move, the Chinese Supreme Court has banned almost all iPhone models. It's all part of the sanction war, the tariff war. the war between the U.S. and China. In fact, global stocks are falling due to the trade war between U.S. and China. Global stocks all across the board. This tariff war is actually hurting the world itself and could create a landslide. Excuse me. It could create a landslide into a second Great Depression. Because now Europe is losing lots of stock, and they're losing hope of there being even a rebound. Mind you, this is not what actually caused the original Great Depression, but it would be a depression in the same sense that the value of money would go down after a time. In order to try and, in an attempt to recover stock, countries would start printing more and more money in order to raise up stock, because they would have no choice. Otherwise, they would risk a great recession, global recession, a huge economic upset, thanks to the insanity of Trump and Xi going at it on tariffs. This is crazy that they think they can do this and expect no consequences to come out of it. The world stock market is just Europe especially. They're losing hope of any kind of rebound. You know, good job. You know, think of yourself. Don't ever bother thinking of anyone else for a change. Voyager 2 is now joined Voyager 1 in interstellar space. Yay for NASA! I always like following those Voyager stories. U.S. returns church bells taken from Philippines in 1901 as war booty. Yeah, war booty. Yeah, we shouldn't have taken them in the first place, honestly. That was kind of messed up of us, huh? Oh, and back on the yellow vest situation, Macron has agreed to at least cut the taxes after further threats of violence. Yeah, well, I mean, they're also outside the door of the presidential palace literally demanding that someone throw Macron out to them. Yeah, and what do you think's going to happen if they do? He's going to get torn apart. Of course, there are some who would probably say that was probably a good thing. I'd be sympathetic, but would not agree to a literal gang murder. It would probably amount to a lynching. And finally, this story, Max Little shot while recording video on Facebook, advocating for Joseph William in Chicago, a victim of gun violence, advocating for an opponent of gun violence. Chicago, the gun violence capital of the world, and the guy is doing a video and he gets shot while advocating for a politician who plans on cutting down on gun violence. And you know the liberals are going to think gun control is the magic solution. No, that's just going to make it worse. Okay? Since when do criminals obey the law? All that's going to do is the criminals are going to have guns and no one else will have guns. No one ever talks about the good guys with a gun except for someone like me. I find articles, or friends and allies will send me articles saying, you know, with a story about an ally, a good guy with guns, because no one ever talks about it. And why? Because it hurts the liberal gun control agenda. Because honestly, if the liberals and the Democrats had to tell the truth in order to... If the world was going to be destroyed, and the only way to save it was for the liberals and Democrats to tell someone the truth, the world would be doomed. They're just not capable of it. The only things they know how to do is grandstand and manipulate your emotions in order to gain your sympathy. That's all they know how to do. That's all they've ever done. Anyway, that's it, folks. That's it for Culture Shock today. I'm out!